It is officially confirmed Michael Penix Jr. will miss the rest of the 2025 NFL season. With a knee injury, he is heading it to IR. They are, by the way, the Falcons, that is, looking for a next diagnosis to see how bad the injury is and if there's going to be some severe missed time in terms of next season. Falcons fans, welcome into Falcons Today by Chat Sports. My name is Moose, and I hate to say it. I hate to be the one that brings you this kind of bad news. I hate to put a overarching take on the season, but it kind of feels like it's over, does it not? And I'm sure that you're probably sitting there thinking there is a path, there is a way if the Falcons go on a run, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. With the recent injury news, the way that the games have been going so far, it just kind of feels like all is lost at this point. Like I told you, this feels like rock bottom. This feels like the very bottom of the barrel of the NFL. And one of the main reasons that we were continuing to watch, and I broke this down in a recent video, was that we were trying to evaluate Michael Penix Jr. We were still trying to figure out if he had the chops, if he had the game to be the Falcons franchise quarterback for the next 5 to 10 years. And now that is halted. So we see even more of a question mark surrounding Michael Penix Jr. And like I had said to you, so far this season, I feel like one thing can be very, very true to say about MPJ. That being when it's on time, on target, and the offense is in rhythm, Michael Penix Jr. can deliver all of the throws you need for him to deliver. The problem is, one, he was terrible against the blitz, literally rated the last quarterback in the NFL against the blitz. Part of that could be because he's afraid to get injured. Part of that could be because of the scheme. Part of that because they had no play action. I mean, you could go through a laundry list of reasons why Michael Penix Jr. was bad against the blitz. But the second thing that you absolutely cannot deny is that Michael Penix Jr. had that question mark, the elephant in the room, about the injuries. This is now the 5th time in Michael Penix Jr.'s football career he has had a season-ending injury. So I think it is fair to ask at this point, not just as the Falcons quarterback, but now as a quarterback and a football player in general, do Penix's injuries limit his time in Atlanta? I don't have the answer to that question yet, but I think there's an argument to be made for all the Penix skeptics out there, which I will give you at least some credit for, is that you drafted an injury-prone player. We can't be surprised that an injury-prone player with multiple knee injuries has another one. Like I said, 5th time, and this was also echoed by Adam Schefter, that he's had a season-ending injury in college and in the pros. And the knee injuries are not new to Michael Penix Jr. And again, I'm not saying that Penix is done. I'm not saying he's cooked. I think that people automatically hear what they want to hear. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, now you got to ask the question, how much time, how long is the leash for Michael Penix Jr.? But look, 2018, ACL tear. In 2019, a busted SC joint in his shoulder. 2020, another ACL tear. Then another dislocated shoulder joint. And then finally, he's got more ACL damage. He's got a partial tear now in his ACL again. Questions are going to be asked, not just by the fans, by me, but also by the members of the Falcons front office. Sporting news on MPJ's injury, with Penix's left knee, fortunately, not being the one that endured the 2 ACL tears during the game in Indiana. The injury snapped a streak without major health issues for the young quarterback and may send him into the offseason with plenty to prove in 2026 to keep his grip on the starting job in Atlanta. So the problem now is that the left knee is the one that you push off because he's a lefty, right? So that's all of his power. So he's got no power now in that knee. So even if he were to play on this partially teared ACL, he couldn't get anything into his throws. It's just the way it is right now. So now I think moving into the next season with whichever coaching staff comes into Atlanta, because it's not going to be Raheem, you're not going to have Kirk, and Penix has a major question mark. And I think Penix is automatically the starter next year. I do. I don't think a single person would disagree with the fact that Penix is not going to be your starter week 1 of the 2026 season. But there are more questions now about how long that leash is. So how many games does Penix get as the Falcons quarterback in 2026? So we've seen now his season in 2025 is halted at what? 12 total starts? I mean, from last year to this year, it's now 12 starts. So does Penix get 20? Does he get 24? What's the number that Penix gets before we evaluate him and say, okay, we've got a chunk of games now to evaluate what Penix is and what he is not? Either way, let me know in the comment section down below. Coming up next, more bad injury news, this time to Drake London. It's not as bad as Michael Penix. He's not done for the year, but he is at least done for the 2020, He is done for week 12 against the New Orleans Saints. So they will be without him for that as well. Before I continue on with that, I got to tell you about our friends over at PrizePicks. Did you know it takes 30 seconds to make a lineup on PrizePicks? You pick your player, the more they're less on their stat projections, and then you watch your money multiply up to 2,000 times your cash this football season on PrizePicks. The weather has definitely changed, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So do yourself a favor and download the PrizePicks app where you get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. You can also copy other PrizePicks players directly on the app in just one click, whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner like producer Chugs on the ones and twos, or just someone whose picks you love. Hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in a brand new feed tab over on PrizePicks. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. All of that in the comments and description of today's video. PrizePicks. It is good to be right. So Will McFadden tweeted this out right after the Michael Penix Jr. news broke. According to Rap Sheet, the Falcons wide receiver, number one target, Drake London, expected to miss Sunday's game against the New Orleans Saints, and then possibly more time. I think that's the key phrase in there that we have to look at is we don't know what the extent of the injury is going to be. As a football fan, as a fan of the Atlanta Falcons, and as a fan of good football, I love watching Drake London play. He is the best wide receiver in the NFL in contested catches, and I don't think it's an argument. He leads the league in contested catch rate since he was drafted. But I also have another question. I'm actually wondering what Terry Fontenot is thinking right now. What is the justification for keeping Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson and this coaching staff? And that's not a hyperbolic question. That's not a sarcasm question. I'm genuinely wondering, what do you think is going through Terry Fontenot's mind right now? Because it can't be, hey, there's still a shot, because there is no shot. You would have to win out to go 10-7. You have to win every single game. And right now, I think we can see struggling to win one game is tough for the Atlanta Falcons, let alone 7 in a row. And by the way, going back to Drake London for a second, if this is any indication as to how bad the offense is looking in the passing game, every single wide receiver not named Drake London. So take Drake London out of the equation for a second. Here is what the numbers look like since Ike Hilliard was fired after the Week 3 performance against the Carolina Panthers. 19 total catches for receivers not named Drake London for 259, 0 touchdowns, 2.7 catches per game, and 37.5 yards per game. Translation, non-existent passing game. Well, Moose, you know what the problem is. There's no help. There's no help for Michael Penix Jr. There's no help for Kirk Cousins. Well, you got 3 wide receivers that we're going to talk about here in just a little bit that are just rotting away on the practice squad. But first things first, back to Drake London. In terms of target share on the first read and first downs per route, Drake London is quite literally among the best in the entire NFL. I mean, Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Puka Nacua, Garrett Wilson, all of those big-name wide receivers, all right up there with Drake London. Drake London's probably like 4th in the league in that stat for a minimum of 175 routes. So Drake London, I'm so glad he's on this football team, but he can't be the entire offense. And Darnell Mooney's got a drop problem. Kyle Pitts floats in and out. He's kind of non-existent on the field. And you've got 3 wide receivers that are just praying hoping and praying that they get onto the field. Nick Nash, Dylan Drummond, Chris Blair. All three of them just, they must suck. They must absolutely blow if they can't find their way onto the field, and the only wide receiver target right now is Drake London. That's actually worth a damn. Bijan Robinson is your wide receiver 2 this season. That's sad. That's absolutely sad. I don't know what's going on with Darnell Mooney. Maybe it's the injuries. Maybe it's a yips thing. Maybe it's a connection thing with Michael Penix Jr. But all I know is if the Falcons don't address it in the draft, they're going to be really, really sorry next year. Now, maybe you could go out and sign someone in free agency. There's a couple of free agent wide receivers. George Pickens is available. Mike Evans could be available. But who's going to want to play for Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson? I mean, that's the current coaching staff. So I'm typing my D for draft at this point because I don't know who you're going to get in free agency unless there's a new coaching staff that comes in. If there's a new coaching staff, Matt LaFleur, if he gets let go by Green Bay, there's plenty of other coaches out there that could turn this franchise around. But until we get the word from Terry Fontenot, nothing's going to happen. Either way, let me know in the comment section down below. If you're still here at the very end of the video, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up icon. It shows that you're in support of what we do here. Maybe not of the Atlanta Falcons, but it can always get better. Can it not? It can't get worse than the very bottom of the barrel of the NFL. That's going to do it for us on today's episode of Falcons Today. I'll be back with more rumors surrounding some coaching stuff. But as far as we know right now, the season kind of has come to an end. Michael Penix Jr. is officially out for the rest of the year. Drake London gone for the next couple of weeks. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Atlanta Falcons can squeak together some wins. I want to watch winning football from this team. Until that happens, rise up and be cool.